My guest today is Zach Roozen. If you don't know who Zach is, you are about to find out because this was a very interesting podcast, very interesting conversation. Also, if you didn't learn about Zach from this podcast, I promise you will learn about him in the future from something else because I can tell that he is someone that's on the rise. He's an incredible actor. He's a great producer. He's a very, very cool person. We have a very, very interesting conversation. It looks like I have Pinocchio in a headlock. Pokey. Sorry, he changed the name to Pokey. Zach and his buddy Kyle just made this a short for a film that they are going to make called Happy Endings Funeral Parlor. It was a passion project of theirs that they made happen through all kinds of roadblocks and hurdles and mountains. And I've seen it. I've seen a clip from it, and it looks incredible. And we have a great conversation about what it took to get this thing made. And, I think some of the sacrifices you have to make sometimes when you follow your passion. Also, I'm on the road doing stand-up. Go to ZaneLamprey.com. I'm adding dates all the time. My tour for next year is called Another Round, and I'm doing 140 shows around the country. And it's a little more crowd work than maybe people are used to. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Hi, are you doing okay? And then if you use if you want to go to my store, Pleep.shop, P-L-E-E-P. Do we know that he has a breathing issue? Because you could hear it. Go to Pleep.shop, Pleep.shop. Use code ZACH50, Z-A-C-H 50, and you will get 50% off your order this week only. Do it. 50% off? I meant to say 40. 50. Take it. Have fun. Enjoy the show. We should have an Olipop.
Olipop, baby, come on. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. It's like a healthy soda?
So, you know what's interesting? Look at the...
See, botanicals, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking gin.
Right, well...
It's like,
what it is if you look at those, the ingredients, you know all the ingredients.
Okay.
You know what these... They're not like... They're not words that start with like polyethanol, whatever.
Like Nepal cactus.
So this is basically like a soda, like a cola.
Yeah.
I don't think it has any cola. Oh no, there's cola right there, natural cola. But anyway, it's
actually good for you.
It's actually for you. It has fiber, probiotics. Probiotics or fiber? You should know. Anyway,
so I
don't know. I'm upset.
We're just kidding.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Whoa!
What did I have?
Dude, I was on this podcast and I'm really regular.
Thank you, Olipop. That's what I'm talking about.
It's actually really good.
Oh, I have a fridge in my garage that is an Olipop fridge. So there's other flavors. If you want to drink like 5 during this interview, it will flesh you out. And I can go through, there's like 10 flavors.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's first start by talking. Here's what I'm interested in discussing is you and I are, I guess we're basically a generation apart, right?
Yeah.
I'm about 22 years older than you. I look like I'm maybe 10 years older. But you were going to say that.
You look good. And I was going to say you look good.
That's what I'm looking for. That's all I wanted. And a lot of stuff is happening in my world that is so different than when I moved out here. So I moved out here in 96.
Okay.
And there were very specific ways about going about
doing
things.
Yeah.
And I wanted pumpkin.
We got beelines.
We got cats. We got all kinds of stuff. But let's first start talk about the Happy Endings Funeral Parlor, because I think that'll bring our discussion back into that. So that is a short.
Yeah, it's a feature, but we rewrote. So, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, we have this feature that basically Kyle Ricchetti wrote, who's like my partner in all this, right? He lives in Florida right now. We met at Chateau Marmont. We were like door guys, right?
Okay.
Sitting at the door. And so we'd sit out there into the eons. He was a night guy. So he'd come at 11 and he'd be done at like, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
I'd be like coming off. So there was like a 3-hour window where we would just talk.
Got it.
So these ideas kind of came forward. He lost a childhood friend and it was really sad. And he was trying to process it. So he wrote this feature, right?
Okay.
He came to me.
Happy
Endings Funeral Parlor, right? So the feature was the origin. It wasn't the short to the feature. It's like reversed. So like a lot of people, we were going to reverse engineer it, but we were like, you know what? the thing about our thing is, let's keep the same characters, same universe, and just bend it to like an elongated intro. So the intro of the movie is now the short.
Oh, I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so the whole idea behind it is, I mean, it's like Kansas City mob. It's two brothers managing a failing funeral parlor for their uncle in like buttfuck rural Iowa, which is where I'm from.
Okay.
So I can say it.
Yeah.
But it is like literally like nowhere, right? And so basically it's trying to get this famous hitman to his own funeral in our short.
Got it.
But in the feature, that's just like kickoff.
Got it. Okay. I saw the trailer.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's great.
Honest, you can be like,
No. I thought it was great. I thought, first visually, this is important to me, and it looks the way that it should look. It looks really, really nice. I'm watching. I'm not going. I don't feel like I'm watching something that's low budget.
That's in our feeling exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, look, so many people are doing shorts.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard. Like, you even go to like big festivals and you're sitting there going like, what is that? You know?
Yeah.
We wanted that film grade. We wanted that early 2000s, like late 90s kind of raw edge.
Mm-hmm.
And we also did everything you're not supposed to do. We were like, hearse, close down a city street, throw a body out the back of a hearse at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like everything they say not to do. And we were like,
who says not to do that?
Well, I feel like, like if you talk to anyone like in the industry, they're just like, what you need to do is you need to write two guys in a room and they never leave and they just talk. And I'm like, yeah, but this boring. You know what I mean?
No, I think I think, and I just watched it. I think it looked fun. I get it. That's another thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like they're saying like, I don't know who this they is that we're talking about, but they might also say like, don't hit it on the nose, man. Like build it up. Like you don't need to be so direct. Like, no, be direct. Tell me what the story is.
Right.
I get it. So it's kind of like a little bit of a nod to Weekend at Bernie's in a way,
For sure.
A little bit of a nod to like I'm thinking like of almost like a comedic mob movie.
Yeah. Right. We're trying. Like I love Dumb and Dumber, right? And like it definitely
I can see a little,
It's like Dumb. I could say like if it's Dumb and Dumber meets like Fargo in the sense of it's played more straight and it's more like, I don't know, black comedy that way.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
but what we're seeing is more targety. So the fact, like, and I said, I like Target the brand, but I'm saying it feels very generic in a lot of ways, like what we see. So our idea, which I love that you're maybe kind of like referencing to, is that the look of the film is more like it's a little film grainy and it's a little bit more, like Clerks or something like that.
I mean, to be honest with you, it wasn't something that I thought about when I watched it, and I think that's the most important thing. Is like,
good.
I don't want to think about the style or the lighting or any of that kind of stuff. Just do what you do, do it, and don't take me out of it by making it to this or to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it looked the way that it's supposed to look. And I know that that's not an easy process to do.
Sure.
But it looked like a high-end, like if I'm watching it, I'm watching a multi-million-dollar, budgeted movie. Because nothing in it, the way the coffin comes out and all that kind of stuff, the driving, and, the way that it hit the car behind it, whatever. Like none of that looked like you guys were taking any shortcuts.
Right, which is funny because like on the back end, he and I were going through hell making this thing.
Okay,
right? I mean,
sure.
We literally, so we had a great team. I'm thankful for everybody involved. But really, Kyle and I kind of helmed the whole thing. Meaning, like he and I were like Googling like hearse to buy, right? Like we own a hearse now. We like,
oh my God,
bought this hearse. You know. I mean, everything we did, even like in Iowa, which is where we shot it, when we got there, I mean, we had so many unanswered pieces. We knew the crew was coming. We knew our actors were coming, but like we were like, we don't know how to get the body through the car or any of this. Like,
let's go back to like the beginning of it. Saying like, okay, you guys have this movie. Now, when I say it looked like you guys had a budget, I think part of the reason is because you probably did.
Yeah. So we had a studio offer, right? Like an interest in development, and that was pitched. And
wow,
lolly,
that's good lollipop.
Lolly,
sorry.
I said lolly. That's a good lollipop.
I have to do that every 5 minutes. I'm contractually obligated. No,
there you go. It is good, like I said. So it's not that hard.
Yeah. It's not like you're like, wow, that's so good.
I love the lollipop.
Yeah. Give me a water.
I really like it.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so you.
We had an offer, right?
Okay.
Like a tentative offer, right?
Okay.
And this was right before we had heard the shutdown was coming, all this stuff was coming.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so like when I graduated, every year is something, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's slow right now because we're doing and then and so I've just felt like we're getting derailed so much. So I wasn't holding my breath. You know, we're sitting here, we know the product we like, you know, it's done and there's interest, but ultimately, you know, the shutdown was happening, all these things. So I turned to Kyle turned to me and he was like, dude, we can't wait anymore. Like we're not 18, like we're 30.
Okay.
Like let's make something. So we called that entity, let's just call them that, and said like, hey, will it screw up our deal or any interest if we make this thing?
Okay.
And they were like, no, as long as it's not the exact story, which it's not. It's like the same character, same universe. Mm-hmm. But you just can't, like, we're not going to give you anything. Like, we don't have any.
I mean, you're almost proving that you are capable of doing delivering the acting that you need to do. But also delivering the product as well. Although they are saying that in the future they will deliver the product. Basically, you deliver.
Yeah, correct. And that's kind of like, I mean, I guess like developmental hell, right? Where it's like, okay, are you gonna act? Are you not? Are you going to create it? Are you not? Are you know, what, like, we're figuring all that out, right? But we just knew, look, we know what we can do and we can deliver it. So we had no money. We had nothing. We were like, what are we going to do?
Okay.
Right? And so, you know, everybody does Kickstarter and crowdfunding and all these things. And I think that's really cool. But end of the day is we were like, man, I don't want to, you know, have to like ask everybody for things. Mm-hmm. So Carver and I like went on this, it's almost like money media tour, I would say, where we were just calling different things that we thought would align. Like we even called like Titan Casket, for example. They are the ones that supplied our caskets.
Okay.
So like this is a little farther down the road, but it kind of gives you the sensibility of what we're doing. We were like, dude, and they were like, we've never been called about anything like this, like a casket sponsorship in this. Like it didn't really make
Did they
sense.
go for it?
They did.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
They gave us the caskets. They didn't give us money, but I'm thankful because a casket, I don't know if
how many did you need?
Well, we did 2.
Okay.
So and that's the other thing is like if you're on
I'm gonna guess. So they look like nice caskets.
Yep.
It was a mob guy.
Guess the cost. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say $12,000.
So crazy enough, I didn't know the business of funerals. Death is expensive as hell.
Okay.
Don't ever die.
Yeah.
You won't be able to
just burn me.
I won't. Yeah. The casket itself is like between $2,000 and $5,000.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently
they're metal. If you want like mahogany or you want like something, they even have like Dodgers caskets. We were like figuring this out. Like imagine you're such a diehard that you're
diehard. Yeah,
literally very. So we learned all this. We were like, whoa, like we didn't even know like there's like a lowering device, you know, and apparently that thing alone is like $8,000 to $10,000 to like rent it.
Oh.
Like we didn't know any of this.
Oh God!
Like,
okay.
Literally, we didn't know
the thing that rolls it.
down. Yeah, it's like you kind of do this and you
to rent it. Is that expensive?
I think like a whole thing like digging and doing all this stuff can be like.
Oh, not to mention you had to do it in an actual cemetery.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
I mean, and then like I don't know if you call it rent the space.
Yeah.
Do you rent the space?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Did you give it back?
Well,
did you fill it back?
We did it in a real cemetery.
Right.
We dug it up.
Yeah.
And then they put it back.
Yeah.
But they should have just used it.
Yeah.
Like we're like slightly discounted. It's like, hey,
no, double the price.
Featured in a movie. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you know, like Bobby's buried where they shot. Corbin Burnson was right there. He was in there.
Wow.
He was in that hole with us.
Yeah. I would have tried to maybe they did. They just put it back up, and then it was still loose dirt, so they just cleaned it back out.
Yeah,
or said that they did. Whatever
they said they did, or they said they dug.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's okay. That's something that had a cost to it as well.
Yeah.
Plus all the people and the cameras, all that kind of stuff. Can you say what the budget was?
Yeah. I mean, so we're punching around 50.
Okay.
40 to 50.
You're getting around 50, but that's still incredibly low. Like there's a lot of favors.
It's a ton of favors.
Yeah.
And also like what you learn is redistribution if I were to do it again in terms of money. Look, I'm happy. Like we like what we have. But end of the day is like, you don't know, right? So you kind of like go fishing, you know? And that's what we did. We were like, okay, let's reach out to these filmmakers we like, can you do it? What do you like? will you do it for this? No. Okay, I think that won't work. We'll go over here.
Yeah.
We already kind of know what their rates are, things like that. But it's a lot of that, like the producing side of it, which is what we had to do. I mean, we wrote the contracts. We literally we did everything. And that's the thing I learned too, is when I was at school, I knew pillars, right? Like I'd worked for big casting directors.
So you went to USC Film School?
Went to USC, yep.
And then you got your degree in
film.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So then I had done, like I'd worked for a big in script coverage and things like that. So I knew that side. I knew the casting side. I knew all these things, but I never like put them all together.
Right.
So if I go back, I'm kind of like, you know what? If you're not going to go to school, that's fine. Just go make movies. Because I learn more right now,
I would say,
doing that than I ever learned at schools. Honestly, school was fun and I liked it, but it didn't really help my career.
Yeah.
Sorry, USC, but
I got that's it. Hey, welcome. Hashtag USC.
Yeah.
Mine is a completely different story, but I went to college. I got my degree in fine art with a focus in oil painting. And the times that I've picked up an oil paint brush since then is zero. But I did pick up some social skills. But at the end of the day, I was just having fun. And I have a degree, which, to be honest with you, it was important to me, but it was kind of more important to my parents. I think they wanted to say that their kid graduated from college, so it wasn't USC.
Yeah, that's the same situation with me. I guess I just thought the promise might be,
at least you're in your industry.
People are going to respect it, but I don't think they really care.
Is that where you met Kyle?
No.
Oh, okay.
I met him at a service job at a hotel.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the joke, right? It's like, go make what you want. And the idea behind like this whole process for me is we called on so many favors. Like every actor basically in the movie I had known, worked with on other projects, acting or other than Corbin. He's an exception. He was somebody we loved. We had circled some names for this movie. I don't know how much. We can say, right? I don't know. I mean, we had at one point Fred Durst was like talking about, that
would have been
interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and like he's doing some tour in Europe for Limp Bizkit, like all these things, right? We had like John Grease from Napoleon Dynamite,
from
Uncle Rico,
or that part.
Yeah, and we were like all of them, like there was all this interest. We didn't know even Corbin was like he hadn't entered our world yet.
Yeah.
He hadn't entered our space.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were like tooth and nail with these agents, and like half the time we don't really know if we're getting through to them. And it was just such like a bludgeon game. Like we would wait for them for so long. So like that whole thing became like a nightmare, and somebody was gonna potentially do project.
Okay.
And they were like just stabbing us, really. They were asking for all these demands.
Okay, got it.
Money, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much people know, but it's like you can't wait until they decline to make another offer, which I think is absurd.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I'm waiting for these like eccentric people to like make the decision, and I'm like, I'm offering this thing.
Yeah.
So this person was like this, and I'll never forget it because this was about 2 weeks before we shot.
Okay.
And we were in Iowa, and it was a mess. And
so you were out there.
We were out there early because we had to get everything together. And Kyle and I were sitting, and we got on the phone with this power agent, and I looked at him, and I said, "Cuz if they change the offer becomes void."
Okay.
So we were on there, and they were so difficult to us that we just wanted to be done with this person. We wanted to, So we were just waiting, and it happened, and we were like so excited because we were on the phone, and the agent goes like, "No, I also want," and he said one more little demand, and we said, "Oh, sorry, like unfortunately, can't make the demand. Offer's done." But like it's just so crazy that people don't see that side of it, and I feel like those artists.
Is that like a courtesy thing, or is it a legal thing?
I don't know if it's like best practice or what. I just know that you can't really
want to burn bridges
rescind
either,
an offer unless there's change.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, when I saw Corbin in there, I was just like, oh, that's so cool.
He's literally like, we couldn't ask for better. And basically, he was the coolest person I've almost ever.
That's awesome.
He literally
until you met me.
Until I met you.
That's so cool.
You hadn't entered my world yet either.
That's true.
And there's a musket above your head in here.
Oh,
I
that's
noticed
true.
when I walked in that I was like,
I got guns behind me.
if things go a little south,
yeah,
like,
and
I don't know
what it's fine. I need to bust them out, whatever.
I don't know
But
if it works.
yeah.
And I don't want to die by a musket ball.
No, you don't. It's very painful, and it takes a long time. Yeah. A piece of your clothing gets caught inside. It's sepsis.
It's gonna be like literally 3 weeks later. I'm like, man, it's still really hurting me.
Take back what you said. Take back what you said.
But no, Corbin got there, and the first thing that happened was he's in the makeup. And the one thing I am proud of is we really made an environment I think that people were comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had correct facility, to your point. Like, if you're gonna do it, right?
How did you do that?
Yeah.
How did you do that in the middle of Iowa?
Yeah, there's a company called Renovo Media. The film is not associated with them in the terms of like we used their services.
Yeah.
But I would just say that they did Wildcat for Ethan Hawke and his daughter. They've been doing some really cool movies, and they're like in the space now.
So as like a technical question,
Yeah.
I did my like.
There's a piece of I just wanted the viewers to know that
It's on you or
it's
me.
a brand new white shirt that I just brought for
That's
you.
so nice of you.
And it still has a tag, and it's stressing me out because I was like, you know what? If they can see
It's picked
this,
up. Like, what a loser.
this guy
This guy
tries
gets a new
so
shirt.
hard. But hey, Alipop.
Oh, it's delicious. Wow. But that sure made it better, didn't it? So I've done my stand-up specials for Amazon.
Yeah.
And I've done 2 in LA. And there's a venue that I've done my show at in Englewood, Pennsylvania. Basically Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And Englewood Brewing in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And I love them there. Their space is really one of the coolest brewery performance spaces. I mean, it's mind-blowing. And I really wanted to do my special there. And I was like, how can I just minimize costs? Like, who do I need to bring from here? And what do I need to bring from here?
Local.
Yeah. And what can be local? Right. So how do I minimize what I need to bring from LA?
That's right.
And then how do I save a little money for doing it there? And there was and we're like an hour from Philly, and I just couldn't find the support without so one time I was like, look, they got lights, they're all built in.
Yeah.
And this one guy was going to come in. He's like, well, we need to change the lighting a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is a comedy special. We don't need to go like crazy. And he comes in.
You just have like lasers.
I was like literally going like, your lights are fine. Like I performed there 3 times.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there going like, nope, because they don't just have lights up here. They have them coming down here. Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
The angles, everything is great. The audio system's great. And then so he's like, okay, talk to this lighting guy. They've done some stuff, whatever. And the lighting guy comes in. And he's like, yeah, I could probably do it for like pretty cheap. Like I'm thinking like $22,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. And like that's what we found out, right? Like along the way is all these people just price gouge you to death.
They see Hollywood or whatever.
Local, yeah, even local. I mean, like we had like a pyro stunt. It was like a flame coming up.
Okay.
And the guy was like, he goes, well, I gave you a big deal, blah blah blah. When you open your invoice, I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open this invoice, and I open it. It's seriously like $12,000
right
to shoot one flame.
Right.
So like work around. We're in Lowe's, Kyle and I going like, what do we do, man? We have no options.
Yeah.
And there's like this older guy, like he's got a cane. He's walking over and he's like looking at shit. And he's listening to us. And he turns and he goes, well, I was a high school science teacher. And then we were like, oh, really? Yeah. And he was like, and he goes, well, you need a flame. And I was like, yeah, we just need a flame. And he's like, go get some PCP pipe. You go get one of those, this thing you spray your lawn with. He's like, fill it with gasoline and just shoot it. And we were like, will that work? And he's like, yeah, why wouldn't it work? So this $12,000 stunt, right, is literally Kyle pumping the, pesticide thing and me just spraying it and the flame coming up. But it's like, Hollywood, yes, Hollywood works that way, but like everyone on those local crews too, they're kind of like, they think you have all this money. And I'm like, man, we don't have anything, but you have to be creative that way.
I love it. That's kind of like, so right now, this will be a little bit of an announcement. I just signed a book deal.
Okay.
And so
wait, this is your memoir.
It's like, yeah, why do you say that?
Well, I think I heard you say it.
In this conversation?
No.
Oh, something else.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
I heard you say it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. The interesting thing is I don't necessarily like the word memoir because this isn't like, this is the book, it catches you up to where we are right now.
Sure.
Even though that's kind of what it is. But it's more like a collection of stories that are chronological, that sort of builds my path out, when I moved out here, when I got 3 Sheets, which was the show that launched my career, and then the next one when I met Mark Cuban and then did a show with him, and then it kind of takes it through that. But it's a collection of stories. It's not like the whole thing.
Right,
whatever.
Right.
But the first section of that book, maybe the first 80 pages, has nothing to do with the show. It's like, it's my journey going through, because I did different versions of what you're going through.
Right.
Where it's like, you can't do this. And I hate, like, I had a writing, producing partner, and we did some good stuff, but like he just hated how when someone said no to me, he's like, oh geez, here we go. He's gonna have to show him.
Now we're gonna really do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna really do it.
I'll teach you. I'll show you why I oughta. And so, like, that was kind of my thing. Like, let's figure it out. There's always a solution, and whatever. My wife says, "Can we hang lights in this tree, this big pine tree out here?" Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, I want," because I bought some lights. I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "Let's just do it." I go, "It's possible. It's not going to be easy." Right. And then I find myself up in the tree, climbing around, hanging this stuff. Like, that wasn't what I intended to do, but I'm also going to go like, let's figure these things out. That's kind of what's interesting, I think, about life and what you're doing. And so I think this story is fascinating. Like I said, I saw the clip from it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is, you never know. I could have looked at it and been like, oh, okay, and how do we reschedule this guy?
Yeah, for real. And the thing is, too, is like, what I say is like, present your thing and then attract the people to it. Right? Yeah. Because so many people are like, well, I had this idea, and it's like, yeah, we all have ideas, right? Like, this town, everybody has an idea. Mm-hmm. Everywhere your doctor, you're literally your physician here, will be like, oh, you're an actor. Yeah, me too. I have a story idea. I'm like, you're my doctor.
My garbage man last week pitched me on a show.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. The ticket, the meter maid.
The guy picking up my blue bins out there. He's like, hey, Zane, I got a show idea. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is amazing. Let's do it. Yeah.
Which is it's like very cool and very sweet. But I mean, making something and then showing it to people. Like, for example, we got lucky. We shot this movie the way we wanted to. Exactly the way we wanted to. I would change a lot about it if I had it again. So would most people that shoot. But, we got like Sean Paper, for example. He's our editor. He saw the raw. And when the shutdown was going on and there wasn't a lot, right, especially for the acting side, but it obviously slows these shows, he was available, right? He cut, he's an Emmy Award-winning editor. He cut Veep. He's cutting, what is that? Outer Banks right now.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Outer Banks, get it.
And
have you seen Outer Known?
No.
Ooh. Congratulations.
Is it space?
It's sorry, there's a complete divergence, but no, it's Josh Brolin.
Okay.
As basically a cowboy who finds a hole on his property. I mean, like a hole like 50 feet wide, and it is. I had a hard time. My wife and I watched it. You couldn't know.
Wait, show or movie?
It's a show
about
yeah. I think it's called Outer Known.
Yeah, that hooks me now.
Yeah.
The idea of just like a sinkhole or something like appearing, and you're like,
and it's supernatural. And like, good luck not watching the next episode.
Yeah, okay.
They leave you hanging. You're like, well, let's just watch 5 minutes of it, and then you're like,
so my next week is now gone. Is what you're saying? You've done this.
It is. You'll thank me later. Yeah,
I've become less productive since doing this podcast. That's true. I got a little ball in my a shot wound, and I've got a show.
Yeah, you have a musket.
In
it is. What is it called?
That's what I'm saying. A musket ball or a
musket ball.
Well, what
you're mortally wounded.
Yeah, mortal.
Through your brand new shirt.
Yeah. My white shirt.
Damn it.
Damn.
I've ruined everything. Okay, so now what's been happening with the show?
Yeah, so essentially when we finished it, the idea is still to make that feature, right? The way we want. But we kind of wanted to show them and be like, look, whether you come or not, like, the train still rolls.
Yeah.
Like, we make this, right? So it's kind of like, hey, like, we can't wait, right? So when we opened the film in LA, then we went to New York for
when was that? So long ago.
Soho International Film Festival was 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay, cool. Recent. Yeah.
And so we played at their main theater there, and it was like sold out, which was super cool. And everybody came. And what's been really nice is watching the other films. Ours is very different, and like we literally strap ourselves in because we're like, man, you know, this movie's kind of, I mean, it's like hitting on a girl in a funeral. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff in this movie that maybe right now, I don't know, it feels a little different.
Good.
So I'm just like, we're kind of like, oh man,
does it hit?
Does it hit? You know, and you do stand up. Like, the thing is, like, it's immediate, right? But in a movie or a show, you don't know. Like, it was us cutting this silently on our own, and we're just like, are they going to like it?
Yeah.
Like 10 people have seen this. And now we're opening and there's like 700 people in this thing watching it. And so it hit there, and people like resonate with it. There's been like, we want entertainment. All right. We're not trying to pitch. If people walk away with nice, like a change or catharsis in their life, amazing. Yeah. Number one thing we want to do is entertain. That's what we like. Yeah. Right. As a company,
take people out of normal.
Yeah.
Even though it's about death.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, if you look at the feature, especially, it's about like the fact that we have to confront death. You know, if you're Johnny, my character, is like, he's very like controlling, very anal, like type A, and so he ends up like crushing it. So it's not good. Marcel, his brother's the complete opposite, right? He's like, you know, we'll get there. It doesn't matter, whatever. But he's, you know, you want to find that middle ground, and so we're trying to kind of show that through death, universally faced by all of us, which is something we all avoid, it's okay to process that however you want. And in our case, we're just suggesting that you can laugh, and it can be funny, and raw and weird and awkward. And so we're trying to push those boundaries. And this film, that's like what we're trying to do. But weirdly, you know, we've had people come up after and like say really personal stories.
Oh, okay.
You know, which is like, what? Like, this is a you know, crazy We've had like in New York, we had like some Broadway actors come up and say like, hey, like, what's going on with you know, is there another thing? We want to be in it. We want to work on it. So it's been cool, like, seeing that traction. And
it's nice it's a nice thing to do, to prove to people, especially because, you know, like, you're 30. Yeah. You know, you've gone through other stuff up until now. Right. You know what I mean? And now you have this thing that it's the culmination of, you moved out to LA when you were 18. So it's a culmination of 12 years of stuff. You know, exactly. That I know that people don't know about. I'm sitting here talking about, I don't know about it, but I'm sure because I'm in this industry. I know how it works. Right. And so you finally get to a point where, you know, you've put all your eggs in a basket. Yep. All your cards on the table. Some analogy that works out really well. Yeah. And then people respond to it positively. Finally. Yeah. Right. Like, you just kind of like, come on. Yeah. Like, we've got to make something. Yeah. There's this Miguel song that I love, and for this city, it's called Leaves. And he's like, sweet California, sour California, the leaves don't change here. And to me, like, it really resonates with me because I'm like, you can be in this town and it's like we're almost in Halloween, right? There's no fall colors. There's nothing, right? And it just feels like it flatlines. And so it can kind of like consume you as an artist, where you have these really high highs and these really low lows, and it kind of just keeps coming. But if you look over time, it feels like everything else can be really static. So for me, like, getting out of that was just to create. And whether that be my stuff on YouTube or my stuff here, it's kind of just punching through and going all the way with it, right? I mean, you can make an average thing, but nobody cares, right? Look, if you don't put your balls on the table, again, I don't know if that's a real analogy, but I think it works, okay? I like it. If you really don't put it out there, like, you're not going to know. If you can't, and this is a bit cliche, but like, you can't not go 100%. Right. You know, you have to, if you're doing this, especially this project that's yours, if you don't put every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears and money and resources into it, then you wouldn't know what would have happened if you would have. Right. So it's kind of like when you know, people have multiple things going and they're just like, and you're like, man, I wish you would just focus on one of these things. Yeah. That's the thing I'm taking away most, is anytime I focus my energy, which is very frenetic,
on one thing and I deliver one thing well, that's when I'm in my sweet zone. Mm-hmm. And like with this, let's be clear, we shot this movie in 4 days. Okay.
Oh wow.
We had no contingency plan at all. Zero. I'm talking about zero. We had the gear for 4 days. We had.
What was the gear, by the way? What was the camera?
Yeah, so we shot on an Arri Mini, and then an LF, and we had this is what I'm kind of proud of too. There's a company, we'll shout them out, Bokeh. They're a cinema lens.
I love them. They're one of my favorite.
And I met with the owner, and he was like, "Look, I really like what you're doing. I love this idea." So they actually gave us Hawk anamorphic lenses. I don't know if you know what they are, but they shot like moonlight on them. Mm-hmm. They're like they're like a vibe, right? Mm-hmm. And so like things like that, we got substantially discounted and we got them sent out.
I don't think people even understand how expensive those things
are. No, and I'm going to tell you a story that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a story I shouldn't, but I will. We had to get the lenses home, okay?
From here to there to back.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
So everything, we had insurance, all the things you're supposed to have. But we have these lenses. And to your point, if people don't know, some of them are like $200,000 to $500,000 for one.
For lens.
One.
Yeah. And it's a very difficult concept to grasp.
Yes.
But I didn't know this to be true.
They're like a scotch that's like the best, right?
Yeah.
But it's ultimately, they come in these flight cases, in these boxes. And one of our PAs and super creative like videographers was dealing with getting them home. Okay. Now we had no money, so we booked him a flight. Sorry, Justin, on Southwest, which is fine, but we booked him a flight back home with the lenses. Okay.
That he had on his person?
Yeah. Well, no, we had to check them in. Of course, they were big.
Yeah.
Somehow, the lenses made it back, but he didn't.
Okay.
And now I got to think about this through because somehow he got like a layover or something, but he could not. So the lenses, which are $1 million collectively, are sitting in the turnstile, LAX.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Justin, what do you mean? Like, where are they?
Yeah.
He's like, dude, they're telling me they're like in LA. They don't know where they are. And I was like, dude, what am I going to have to do to like pay for this if it's gone?
Yeah.
And like little things, like we had like so many things.
What did you do?
That. Okay, so
did you go to LA?
No, so we flew him on a different airline immediately, like with our personal money. We got him there.
Are you still in Iowa?
I'm in Iowa. He's in like Denver because he's stuck, and the lenses are in LA. So we move him back, and by like stroke of God, like they removed it and they like put them on, where you put like skis that are missing.
Yeah, right.
So it's like skis or like some guy's weapon and then our bokeh lenses, and I was like, fuck, man, we were so close to being like.
I one time threw out, like accidentally grabbed a bag that had like money.
Yeah.
Like a few $1,000s in it.
Yeah.
And I accidentally, I don't know if I did it or if someone, anyway, it was in the garbage overnight.
You threw it out.
Yeah, but it was and when I realized what it was, the next morning I went out and I grabbed it before the trash guy came. But like, but the fact is,
goes, I have this idea and I got this bag. What are you doing?
What do I do with all this money?
Where did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's
might be my money. Sorry, that was Tyler's giving me the time warning. We're good, but just showing me, and that always throws me off. You can edit that out, Tyler, or you can keep it in. Oh shit, is he pissed off? I'm kidding. This will be an edit point because we'll come back to it. You and I do a good job of going off and
we tangent, but
So where is the movie now?
Yeah, so right now we've done both coasts, and so now in 2025.
And what does that mean to people who don't know what's happening in this process?
Yeah, so like for me, right, it's amazing and probably the same as you. Is like I'm doing other projects in the meantime, and I've been kind of flying around. So like the last few months, I've been in 6 countries and I've been in 9 states, like working, which is really good. So we're like
working as an actor.
Yeah, working as an actor.
Okay.
And so the movie is delivered and it's been completed. So now to do both coasts, we're doing like we showed up in LA and had a premiere here, which is local for me. So it everybody like our friends or family and people could come, but also the public can come, and it's a really great festival. And then Soho. So just to have like both corners, like the bigger markets of the festival circuit kind of checked off. Now we want to go international.
Okay.
And what's interesting is...
And what's the objective of that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, to be honest with you, it's more just meeting filmmakers and getting out there.
Right.
Shorts are never going to be profitable. You're never going to be able to like flip it. We never intended to. So this for us is just getting laurels, getting people to see that people like this movie. It's being selected in big festivals, and then it helps its saleability, and also to the studios, etc., to say like, look, people like this movie, and we had no money. We had no support on this movie. So yeah, so now taking it overseas is another opportunity to like meet potential buyers and things like that, and other entities out there.
What about the company that was originally interested in it?
There's still, so that's still a thing, but these things for them can take 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
So for me, I go like, we're not holding our breath.
And then eventually it'll happen, and they go, look, we love it, we're doing it. You're a little too old for it.
Right, yeah.
We need to find someone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're 85 now. You've kind of aged out.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like, God.
I did this, I came up with a show called Rise and Dine. Okay. So I did like a Food Network show, and then I did some drinking shows, whatever, travel shows, back when that was a thing. That's not a thing anymore.
Yep.
And I came up with one called Rise and Dine, where I would go around the country and go to the best breakfast spots. Very simple idea for a show.
Yep.
And so we pitched it to, I think it was Food Network.
Okay.
And they go, we love it. Okay. We love it. Who do we see doing it? And meanwhile, I shot a sizzle of me
going out
there and doing it. Yeah. And it was me, and I'm like, me? What do you mean? And they go, well, we were thinking like maybe like Joey Fatone, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, wow.
Yeah.
All right. And then I had to go like, okay, if I just end up being a producer on this and not the star of it, then I guess it's still money in my pocket.
That's
but it was a weird situation.
You got to pick your battles, right?
Yeah, right.
So like Kyle and I, like we're a team, we're in it together, and we often talk about this. It's like there's certain projects we have that we're willing to offload.
Right.
There's other projects. Could you hear that?
No.
I had like a nice burp, an Ollie Pop burp.
Oh, that's nice. That's the fiber work.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah,
it's like a very nice
Ollie Pop. Enjoy it twice.
Ollie Pop. Yeah. Enjoy it and enjoy it again. Yeah. So there's certain things that we'll just offload, right? I mean, if there's an interested buyer, great. This one was kind of something we're kind of dying on the hill and saying no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to bring in like other elements, if you want to change even pieces of the script, something like that to work it around, if you want to bring in really great supporting stars or something, like that, we're okay with that.
Yeah.
But there's certain things we're just like, no.
Yeah.
And we put too much.
I mean, who's a lot of people have fought that fight. I think one of the biggest ones we know is like Stallone.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, come on.
He's like, no. I'm doing this.
Yeah. And also Schwarzenegger.
For what?
I heard that he did the same thing where like he originally like he was doing something and they were like, no, it's not you. And he kind of like fought his way in. Like both those guys, they've done that. I don't know what his was, but
his might. I mean, I know,
or maybe not.
I know a lot of the Schwarzenegger stories, but I will just tell you this: if you get a chance, it is you're not going to be able to finish it.
Yeah.
But it was called Hercules Takes New York.
Okay.
And it was one of his first movies.
Okay.
And his accent was so bad, they're like, we can't understand it. They dubbed him over. And so it's Schwarzenegger. He comes in, he's like, hey guys, what are we doing? This can't possibly be it's just like, and it's that
super
voice.
Clean voice actor.
Super clean, doesn't really match. He's like, hey, what's going on here? This is a crazy thing. Like when it's like, especially back when they did like Kung Fu movies, it's a little overacted. The subtle thing I lost. But because he is who he is, they did remix the whole thing with him.
Yeah.
With him again, like recently. But anyway, it's garbage. It's garbage. So now you guys are just doing that, and then does this make you want to do another short, or does it make you want to go into the feature world?
Yeah.
You proved it.
And and that was the thing, too, was we've done that.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And it's so annoying to me because if you look at, I mean, I'm not, like, fresh here. You know what I mean? I have worked for big people, and I've delivered a lot. And I've been building other people's career, basically.
Yeah.
And I finally was like, no. But what the first question everybody asks is, well, show me something of with your name on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I can show you all this stuff. But ultimately, this proves that. Now, I don't want to go back to the short space because it is just like you bleed your money. But we have everything done to make this feature. And that's, I kind of want to reiterate, meaning like, yes, we like the fact that somebody's already kind of championing us. Chomping.
Yeah.
Arnold will dub me later.
I'll do it.
Yeah, perfect.
Hey, we're championing this movie.
That's right. But we've already got all the pieces,
Yeah.
right? So, like, we've got the budgeting, we've got even partial private funding outside of that studio to do that. So, like, these things are in place to make this movie. So, come hell or high water, like, within a year, we're going to make the feature.
So I love how it's like you're saying like, oh, we go out and we're going to get the movie. We got this private funding. And people might think that was just, hey, they had dinner with this guy, whatever. But like, again, each one I'm sure has its story.
Oh my God.
And it's not easy.
I mean, I like Kyle and I were like in a casino at one point. Like we're in this pretty well-known casino.
Okay.
And there's a
In what city?
This one was in Iowa, but they own 32 casinos, including in Las Vegas, some major casinos in Vegas. But this family they live in Iowa.
Okay.
Partially. I mean, they jet around where
Sure.
they go, right? So, I mean, he and I, like, we're in this casino, you know. It's very, like, this is us, like, Blues Brothers, like, this is literally the movie itself. It's like, we have these coats on, and we're like, okay, we're going to the casino, like, let's try to sell them on this movie, right?
But you had
a meeting with the family.
You had a meeting set.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I mean, we just called. We called around, and we made our way up, like, all these levels, right? And finally, they were like, yeah, I mean, we'll meet with these kids. Why not? So they met us at this casino, and this, like, guy is like, you know, they operate.
How you doing?
Major labor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we talking?
What do we need here?
What,
Yeah.
you know, how much money can I?
Yeah. You're gonna owe me.
Yeah, and like little connections like that, and then, you know, different people that were supportive with us basically like funded this movie, so we didn't have to go into major, you know, we didn't completely destroy ourselves, let's say. But I think it also goes to the labor itself. You know, I mean, the people, like the guy that colored our film, he was the head of Technicolor. You know what I mean? He's like Andrew Francis. He's more like retired now, but killing it, right? And he just loved the idea, loved what we were doing, and he did this for nothing for us, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sean, you know, all these people, like our whole team was amazing. Corbin, everybody. I mean, they just showed up to do this.
Look, people like to hitch their wagon to a car that they know is going someplace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's both the nasty side of the business and it's the good side of the business. It's good when you have something going on, right?
Yeah.
When you're still trying to figure out who you are and you believe in yourself and you know what you're capable of doing, but you have no way of showing that to people and your car isn't necessarily going someplace.
Right.
Like, even people that are your friends are like, oh, you know, it's
cool.
whatever. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Tell me when it has more going for it.
Yeah. And then when it's already on its way, like it's kind of like people want to help people who don't need help.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? When you're already on your way, like, I'll help you. You're like, oh, okay. Well, I did ask for you last year. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's do it. And a lot of time that's eating crow. You got to just kind of like go with it and go like, okay, I don't hate you.
For sure. And that's the thing is, like, you're so right, because it's such an annoying thing, right? Because the people that work, and they work because, and I've been around like so many people, talented and not, that just continue to work because of their jobs, right? Even jobs they did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right?
Right.
So I think to get out of that for us was, without any of that, we have to find a way through. And our way through was begging, borrowing, and stealing everything that we could in order to make this movie.
That's cool. I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of like a masterclass in how to do it.
There's an amazing book that I recommend, and I think the name is 50 First Time. My First Movie.
Okay.
It's called My First Movie.
Okay.
It's 50 iconic filmmakers, everything from Coen Brothers, who's like, you know, I'm from Minneapolis, they're my inspiration, to like, you know, more auteur like people, but all success stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about their first movie.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like 10 questions. It's almost like a podcast. Right?
Yeah.
And they give how they did it or what happened to them to be able to do it. And that book really inspired me, because I was reading all these stories and they were all a mess.
Yeah.
You know, they were all such a mess.
Yeah, right.
Like, we didn't know, but we just knocked on doors and we kicked it down and did it. And so I read that and it was like, like, fuck it. We don't need to find that car that we can jump on. Like, we can be that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds so corny what I'm saying. But it is. But it really is. It's like, that's the way you've got to do it.
That's right. I mean, that's you got to blaze your own path. And I think at some point, a lot of people will get to my age and think, they don't think, oh, I'm glad I didn't do this. They think about the things that they did do. Why didn't I just go and knock on that door? Why didn't I just go and ask this? Why didn't I go and do this? Because you get to a certain point and you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And I don't mean the good light. I mean like the light calling you to heaven.
Sure.
And you're just like, you know what? I don't give a shit. Yeah. I don't care. And I think the people that succeed are the ones when they're younger that, look, you have to have some talent. You have to have some charisma. But you also have to have this drive that no one can get in your way, and knows. Like, I had this great one. Again, it's kind of, I think it's in my book. It's this really quick little story. But like, when I graduated from college, I went out and I worked at a bar in the Hamptons, and it was right on it's in Hampton Bay. It's called Neptune Beach Club, and it was right on the beach, and I was like a bar back or something like that. And making decent money. And the manager there, I was like making him laugh. And he's like, hey, why don't you, they had an MC. It was such a big place. So they had an MC. There was like thousands of people. And there was a guy running the games, whatever. And he couldn't do it. I would sub in for him. And then that was my junior. Then my senior year, I went back and I was then the guy, whatever. And and I was making good money. And I was bartending. I was MCing and whatever. And then the day came to go in and get my last check. And I'm driving directly out to LA, and he's like, what are you doing in LA? I'm like, I'm gonna act and do comedy, whatever. He's like, you're not gonna make it. That's what he said to me. And I was like, whoa, where's that coming from? He's like, I did it. I went out there. I don't think you understand how difficult it is. You're not gonna make it. You'll be back here, just so you know, like, this job is here when you need it. And I was like, I will never be back here. And it's still like, blows my mind of the way he said it. He's like, you're not going to make it. I'm like, and I should remember, I've gotten last checks from other places that I don't remember that experience, but I just remember him saying that to me, and I was like, wow, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, like, so one of my mentors, she's from school, but her name's Mary Jo Negro. She was nominated for a Tony, incredible actress. She's like, if you are getting high praise, probably don't trust it.
That's a good point.
If you're getting low criticism, probably don't trust.
Yeah,
like, be you, do you, right? And I mean, to your point, like, if I quit by all the people that have kind of disrespected me, my first manager, right out of school, big company, right? I got an email maybe 3 years ago, and the whole thing said, it said open or something. And then in the body of the message said, not really sure why this isn't really working out. Not sure why you're not, because I had tested for some pretty big things, right? And I was like, oh, I'm in it. I'm in the fight. I'm almost there, right? But he said, I just don't think it's going to work. This town is not good on aging actors that haven't made it yet. That's what he said.
And that was him dropping you?
And that was him dropping.
Wow.
So I printed it out. And to this day, I laugh because I go, man, like, it doesn't matter. Whatever. The low criticism, I don't care. But, like, part of me is like, if you're in it for the marathon and you love this, and you know that you're capable of it, and that's the thing, is like never giving up on that. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly.
I go
amazing.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And so, like, that's kind of this industry, right? And so ultimately, on top of all that, I mean, I'm proud of the fact that we got out there and we made something and we have something else to give. That's the other thing. People make all these things. They make, shorts or shows, or I even know, like, big creators, and people ask, like, what's next? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm proud of is, like, what's next? Well, we have Happy Endings Funeral Parlor, the feature. It's ready to go. We have a couple other movies that are in the process of being sold and or are done and ready for market, right? We're always, like, innovating, working, things like that. And I think that is the mark of an artist. That is a creative, and that is why you can either say you're an actor or a producer. Mm-hmm. It's not even like if you're out, it's are you creating things actively? Mm-hmm. And that process to me is
right.
I'm like, come on.
Right. Despite everything else in the world working against you, seemingly.
Right.
You know?
Right. What can you do?
We got it. Dude, that was awesome. That was awesome.
This is fun as hell.
Yeah, this is great. We're going to do this again. By the way, we didn't realize that you can walk to my house.
I'm legitimately like not even a 5-minute walk.
Yeah.
I run by your house every day.
Oh, that you?
Every single day.
You the guy that knocks over my trash can?
Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna because there's money in there. I'll be like every now and then.
Listen, I know he's an idiot. He throws out money. What's going on, man?
What do we got in there?
Meanwhile, this guy pulls up in a Mercedes. This is my trash guy.
I just got this new show. I don't know how it happened.
Come on, you can do it, Zach.
That's Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Well, then you go.
Thank you, brother.